Good day everybody, I'm Wallace. Today I want to share with you the story of Diablo Immortal. My intent is to summarize it, so I will skip some of the side story details that I feel are less important. If you seek to know what happens in the Sanctuary this time, you've come to the right place. Before we start, let's go back in time and talk a bit about the events surrounding Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction, as Diablo Immortal story is the continuity of it. At the end of Diablo 2, the hero, hence the player, slays Bel, the last of the prime evil. Bel was seeking the Worldstone, a massive energy crystal whose general purpose was to prevent the High Heaven and burning Hell from consuming the mortal realm, also known as the Sanctuary. It was kind of a barrier between those worlds. The problem is that Bel's corruption on the Worldstone was already too important, so Terrells decides to destroy the corrupted stone in order to try to save the Sanctuary, knowing it would have unknown consequences. So in the years 1265 of Diablo's world, the stone shattered into uncountable fragments, and this is how Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction finishes. The peace in Sanctuary didn't last long though, as the event of Diablo Immortal starts only 5 years later. I agree that most of the character looks younger compared to their Diablo 2 version, but Cain confirms it 5 years have passed. Everything starts on a boat, and the hero of this new story is looking for the town of Worldstone. As a necromancer, I was there as a priest of Ratma, looking for a priestess, and probably her wisdom, I don't know, that's never really explained. The journey was not just a casual walk, as corruption already took roots in the land. In his search of Worldstone, our hero soon meets Skarn, the Lord of Damnation, who seems to be the cause of all the trouble there. Skarn is seeking a shard of the Worldstone, and according to Deckard Cain, only one shard has the power to create an entire reality, and if a demon got his paw on it, it could be catastrophic. As expected, the shard needs to be retrieved and hidden from the demon's claw. This will be our tedious task. At this point in the story, only one shard has been found and Cain wants to destroy it, but doesn't know how yet. He does feel confident to figure it out though.
I came here hoping to obtain the shards and destroy them, if possible, before calamity descends upon us all.
Master King was not in Worldstone by pure chance. Using Talrasha's ritual, he already knew a shard was there, and another one would be in the cemetery of Ashwold. There, a necromancer named Letis, who seeks total dominion over the dead, is trying to use Shard's power for herself. She wants to open a portal to the realm of the dead, to absorb King Lyric's soul and the power it contains from Diablo corruption, referring here to the story of Diablo 1. With the help of Xul, the former mentor of Letis, we will get the stone back from her, even though she will manage to escape. Because 2 was not enough, Cain revealed a third shard, this time in Darkwood. He also mentions that Talrasha's ritual only reveals the shards that are being used in some form, which would limit the number of shards to find, as otherwise there would be probably over 1000 of them if we refer to this scene. Charsi, our long-term trash item dispenser, will help us get there well geared. Our hope lies in finding the Sister of the Sightless Eye, an ancient order in which Charsi was once part of. The Sisters, whose leader is no other than Keisha, are in active war against the Bloodsworn. Strange vines are attacking villagers and depleting them from their blood. We soon learn that the leader of the Bloodsworn, Lakri, is trying to gather as much fresh blood as she can, and she is doing it for her dark and mysterious mistress.
Mistress, I've done as you asked. The blood of every man, woman, and child in Blackstone runs through your veins.
There, with the help of the Sisterhood and a druid called Hemler, all guided by the famous Akara, the hero will try to put an end to this insanity. Hemler knows of a ritual capable of stopping the corruption on the land, and while our little party is trying to gather all the necessary region for it, we learn that Lakri is in fact in possession of a shard, and that's explained why she is so powerful. An interesting thing here is that Skarn tries to take the shard from her, but apparently is not strong enough to get it. Hemler will finally sacrifice himself in order to stop the corruption, and as doing so, he will have a vision of a woman in a pool of stolen blood, holding a shard, all in the depth of the Forgotten Tower. This woman is no less than the Countess, and she wants her beauty back at all cost. Lakri has already given her the shard, but unfortunately, she was no match for my necromancer. Back to Cain with the third shard, he will try to destroy them using both his and the hero's power, but fail miserably. He will then take some time to look for answers in the Radric text, and learned that one of the original Horadrim, Zoltun Kulle, knew quite a lot about the Worldstone. In fact, Kulle was experimenting with something called Soulstone. Those artifacts were intended to capture the spirit of the prime evil, and would also be shard of the Worldstone. Those Soulstone might be the key to destroying the shards, but this forgotten knowledge must first be recovered. What Zoltun Kulle found and studied is buried beneath the sand of the Charsi, beyond Chaldean. This is our next destination. Traveling in the desert looking for a forgotten library of an ancient mage is no easy task, but a friendly and somewhat selfish guy named Zav will gladly offer his help. He will introduce our hero to Tabri, the leader of the Ember Blades, whose trust is not easily acquired. She will decide to help find the library of Zoltun Kulle in exchange for the Scepter of Fahir, an ancient artifact said to be held only by the rightful ruler of Shassar. She intends to use this artifact to unite her people against Vatas, the leader of the Sand Scorpion, and bring peace to her land. The hero will manage to find the 3 pieces of this artifact, kill their weird protectors, and gain Tabri's trust by the same time. She will fulfill her promises and bring us to the library. Unfortunately, it has fallen to the grasp of time and is no longer in control of its protector named the Curator. Magical barriers block the path, and as long as the core is inactive, there is no way to reach the private archive of Master Kulle. Guided by the Curator, we will get the library back to life, and he will grant us the chance to relive the memories of Zoltun Kulle.
This tale is from before Baal led his army. Before he breached the gates of Seshron and put the barbarian city to the sword. Before, 1,000 times before, to the time of the Horadrim, who faced the Lord of Destruction. Imprisoned him within the Soul Stone.
Brought way back in time, we will assist the Horadric mage Tal Rasha and Zoltun Kulle as they succeed in sealing Baal into a soulstone. Only then will Zoltun Kulle say that only an Archangel weapon could damage the Worldstone. This information is crucial, and it's what we were looking for. Archangel Weapons. According to the Curator, only 2 of those weapons are in Sanctuary. Heldruin being Tyrell's blade, out of reach unfortunately unless we can convince him, and Ylnira, bequeathed by an angelic artisan to her child and hidden since then. This blade could be found within the Temple of Namari on the island of Belefin. The Curator will gladly open a portal to this mysterious island, and the temple will be within our reach in no time. Namari, the Nephilim in charge of protecting this temple, will reveal that it is in fact a prison. It is meant to seal an ancient foe named Sargot, the Despoiler of Life, a dark summoner. But the magic of the Nephilim grows weaker, and it is now a matter of time before Sargot managed to free himself. So Namari decides he better be killed than free. With the help of Jin from the great isle of Xiansai, who seeks Namari's knowledge, our champion will try to restore the 3 beacons in order to unlock the temple. One was held by a poor old man, preventing him from dying even though corruption was literally devouring its own flesh. The second was held by the chief of the fetishes, just a formality here, and the third one was stolen by pirates, also just a formality. With the 3 beacons in hand, Namari unsealed the prison and Sargot's fate was ours to decide. He never exited the temple alive. I mean, I'm not even sure he was alive at first, but still, not a threat anymore. And the Archangel weapon was a treasure well deserved. With Ylnira's dagger in possession, Cain's ritual worked and the shard were once and for all destroyed. Hope was restored in Sanctuary, but rest was short as Cain found a 4th shard, this time in Mount Zavain, a Nordic country. Arriving there, the Khazra, Moonclan people, are surprisingly aggressive and attacking villages. Hosa, a Varadani monk, will assure us that the shard is safe within her monastery. It would have been retrieved years ago and kept safe since then. It happens that another monk named Dravek, who once trained with Hosa, is also in the mountains manipulating the Khazra for its own purpose. They are performing rituals similar to the cultists of Skarn, which is not surprising. We learned that Dravek's brother, Tayev, died not so long ago, and the shards was the only thing that could bring him back to life. The monastery patriarch firmly stood against Dravek's idea to resurrect his brother, and so he fled in the mountains. The patriarch tried to send monks to find him, but the cursed land was too hostile and they all perished in their quest. Desperate, Dravik needed a solution for his brother, so he vowed allegiance to Skarn and in exchange he wanted his brother back. Dravik finally assaulted the monastery and got his hand on the so-deserved stone. Oza tried to stop him, but failed and Dravik escaped. And as confident as someone can be with a Worldstone shard in hand, he challenged us to pursue him in the frozen tundra. What a bold guy. And here we are, in the land where the mightiest barbarian city takes roots, Sescheron. Here, the barbarians are in constant fight against the demons since the destruction of the Worldstone 5 years ago. They cannot rest, and even in death, their souls are forced to continue to fight against the army of hell. This is their curse for failing in protecting the Worldstone. Dravik somehow managed to pass into the realm of the dead in order to resurrect his brother. With the help of Navarre, a barbarian girl, and Tassi, a woman who can be heard from the dead, we will recover the Iceburn Tear, an artifact that lessens the power of the dead over the soul of his wearer. And with the approbation of the fallen barbarian spirit, including Thor, the father of Navarre, we will be granted passage into the land of the dead. Unfortunately, Navarre died before we get back to Sescheron, but our mission still needed to be accomplished. Once in the spirit world, we will meet Skarn performing a monstrous ritual. He merged the body of Dravik and Tayev into an horrific creature, leaving them to fight our hero. As no such creature should live, we managed to kill it, but Skarn was already far away, this time with a shard of the Worldstone in hand. There is no other choice here but to pursue Skarn in its realm of damnation. Surprisingly, we soon found an angel lying dead in this land of desolation. The hero starts to hear a voice, begging for help.
I sense a presence. Angelic. Yet not. Immortal? Help me. I beseech you.
Following this voice, we found Virasiel, an angel held captive and tortured by a weird mechanism called the Soul Siphon. Using Yelnara's power, we managed to free her, and the angel informs our mighty necromancer that our soul is in bad shape, and only Yelnara's strength is preventing our spirit from being depleted. She is willing to help, but we must first free our lieutenant from the grasp of Skarn. Starting with Mikhail, which was tortured by the Butcher. Still not as terrifying as the Diablo 1 version though. During his captivity, Mikhail learned of Skarn's plan. The Lord of Damnation is performing rituals to construct great pit of anguish in order to summon demonic army into the sanctuary. He is using the light of heaven to do so. That's the reason behind the soul siphon mechanism. An entire battalion of angels got caught and are being sucked from the light. We will manage to destroy the first pit of anguish, using Yelnara's blade, and as we do so, Virasiel senses her power growing. She also starts to sense the presence of another of her brother, Andalian, which we will manage to save too. This will lead us toward the second pit of anguish, and Yelnara will take care of this one too. As we arrive to save the third lieutenant of Virasiel, Shadox, it will be too late, as Skarn will already have twisted his soul completely. At this point, Skarn already told us that we were allowed to be in his realm because he wishes to, and as I expected, this little walk in hell was too easy. The Lord's plan was to let us use Yelnara's blade, and in doing so, the blade slowly became corrupted. Being in this corrupted state, Skarn was able to wield it, which was not possible before. He used its incredible power, and instead of destroying the third pit of anguish, he added the light of the angel weapon to his ritual, completing it as he hinted to. This summons a gigantic worm, which will serve as a portal to bring Hell's army into this world. But the worm's power was of no match against our so-called mighty hero. Skarn's plan fell, and now he needed to be killed once and for all. The angel trio will open a portal to his domain, and the Lord of Damnation will eventually fall. An unpredictable thing will happen though. Diablo himself will show up and try to catch the shard, but Virasiel, in an ultimate act of bravery, will give her life to avoid such a thing.
Flee, now! Get the shard away from here!
Finally, the power left in Yelnara's blade will be able to destroy the last shard, breaking the dagger in the process. Sanctuary is once again saved, but Diablo's spirit has been released. That's how it ends. I hope you've enjoyed this summary, folks, and let me know if you like what they did this time story-wise. I personally think it's good, and seeing some familiar face from Diablo 2 was certainly a plus here. Happy gaming, and see you next time. Ciao.